live. Hello, everyone. I'm super happy and stoked to have AP with me. And AP, your hair looks just fine. We were just discussing whether his hair is good enough to come on live, but it is. And if it's not, let us know in the comment section. So AP, thanks again for coming on, and I'm super excited to converse together. For the
Well,
time that's coming.
thank you so much. It was really it's a pleasure to me to be here. I'm really happy that you invited me. Thank you so much. Hope this will be a great conversation. The thing
Yeah.
with my hair is more that it gets in my way and it makes me angry. Otherwise I don't really care about the look. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, last week I think I was doing the dishes or something, and it occurred to me, hey, why not invite AP to come on to my channel? And to be honest, I didn't expect that this would work out, but I sent an email anyway. And so AP responded, and here we are. And in the course of our emails back and forth, we figured out that we both speak German. So AP, how about sometime we do a German live stream together?
We should totally do that. We should absolutely do that. My German is getting rusty. I haven't really talked in German in a long time. I'm very happy that you think about me when you do the dishes, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering why that association, but it happened anyway. Yeah. So
Yeah.
AP, what's the language you speak at home? You were born to Turkish parents but grew up in Germany, and now you live in the States. What's the language you feel most comfortable in, and the language
I know
you
it's
dream
very
in? And
strange.
yeah.
Well, originally the language that I was most comfortable in was German. I grew up in Germany into a Turkish Muslim family.
Mm.
My Turkish was very bad there, but then we had to move to Turkey. There, my Turkish got better, but my German was still on top. Now that I'm in America, married to an American woman, uh, we speak English at home,
Hmm.
and English is kind of surpassing both German and Turkish right now in terms of being comfortable with it,
Hmm.
I guess.
So, and in terms of food, do you eat American burgers or German wurst or Turkish kebabs?
I think what I like currently the most is to eat Chinese food. And that is actually a side that I only discovered after moving to America. I never really did that before. After moving to America, I went into Chinese food and I thought, wow, this is amazing, man. Where was this all my life? So that's what I'm basically doing.
Okay, I see. So, okay, what we're gonna do, guys, we're just gonna talk. I mean, again, a mixture of personal story and wait. Your mic is low. Well, let me just try to. Is this better, guys? I hope this is better. Um, yeah, so we're gonna have a mixture of a bit of personal experience, personal stories, but then also kind of get into more the nitty gritty philosophical stuff about when it comes to atheism and belief in God or Christianity in particular. So AP, how about you start us off? To share your journey. Like, what were the key moments or experiences you remember when you used to be a pious Muslim, and what were the kind of the key experiences or reasons that led you to become an atheist?
It's a very, I don't know, it's a very long journey, and
Mm.
it was very my journey was very varied. I was just a regular guy in
Mm.
a very religious Muslim family that tried to raise me in a religious way, which I didn't really respond to all the time. I was respectful of my beliefs, of our religious beliefs that I was supposed to be respectful of. I was
Mm.
observing certain things. I became politically active, and at some point in my life, I abandoned my political views and all that, and turned toward extreme religiosity
Mm-hmm.
and Islamic Sufism, Islamic mysticism. Uh, and I actually joined a group of such people, began to study Islam very thoroughly. And, it was actually at that time when I was religious, I loved it. It was, I thought, wow, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. This is the absolute pleasure in life. I remember being awake at night and reading books till till morning, till I heard the call for prayer in Turkey in the morning, being totally exhausted, but that felt so sweet. And then I would pray and go to sleep and sleep a little bit, wake up and continue with the same routine. And it was very nice. And I was really telling myself, wow, this is amazing. You know, I never want to change. I never want to go away from this. I'm so lucky, so happy with this. But the thing is, I always had questions on my mind regarding the Quran and what it teaches, and regarding certain things that I believe in and how they conflict with knowledge that I possess regarding the world around us and life and all that, and especially questions regarding science in the Quran. I couldn't suppress those questions as much as I tried to and had to. And eventually, after a long journey of believing, loving, and questioning, I kind of reached a point where I stopped believing in that certain way of practicing Islam. After a while, I then stopped believing in Islam and in Allah altogether, because I concluded I can no longer believe in this. It doesn't make sense to me anymore. This is very oversimplified, but it's a long, huge journey. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was my thing with Islam back then.
Yeah. Did you have like key encounters with like key people that were like milestone experiences? You know, you, for example, asking an imam about something, or you talking to some atheist dude who would, you know, drop that key argument, or, you know, ask you that key question that felt like, oh, wow, that kind of put me on a different track.
Well, there are certain things I wouldn't pinpoint a specific point and say, well, this is what really made me lose faith. But there are certain things during my religious times that I think back about and occasionally remember now, that have these recurrent memories. Which is, one of them is one thing that I kept thinking about, which is that Islam teaches that Allah taught Adam and Eve everything, gave them the names and the language of everything, and they knew everything, and then were sent down and all that. And on the other hand, I was thinking of all the archaeological knowledge that we learn about in basic school. And I remember going to my religious teacher, a religious scholar, and asking him, you know, I'm very confused. Like, how can I combine this religious knowledge with this knowledge, which we know and can prove? Meanwhile, how can it be that people learn things over time, and that they were unable to speak and to identify things, but at the same time I'm supposed to believe that Allah gave the language and the names of all things? And my teacher basically said to me, well, you have two things. One is this knowledge, and one is what Allah tells you. Are you supposed to believe what the human tells you, or what Allah tells you? What Allah tells you. And I thought, yeah, okay, I guess that's still Islamic logic, but does that really make sense? No. Yeah. And that was like always a seed of doubt in my head.
Yep.
And certain things like that. One thing was an atheist. I was in a discussion with an atheist, and he said to me something like, read the Quran again and read a specific verse which talks about how people should not sit too long in Muhammad's house. And can you tell me, what does that, how does that verse belong into an eternal book that Allah wrote before time, before creation, as a complete guide for all humanity, for all times? And I just thought, and every excuse that I tried to make didn't make sense to me, let alone, you know, me trying to somehow justify those things. And, you know, key moments like these probably played a role in changing my mind a little bit and paving my path.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. In a recent video I watched from you, you said that, you you like to talk about religion and God. And you specifically mentioned that you've lined up interviews with Christian YouTubers, and because you like to talk about these things. Now, this made me wonder, what do you think drives that interest in religion, or drives that interest in, when it comes to you having conversations with, again, Christian YouTubers like myself? Like, what is there, like a specific reason you could pin down, or like,
Honestly, I think the main reason is that I'm a weirdo. That's how I would say it. I think I was just mostly a loner with very few select friends. I never liked the stuff that the popular guys talk about. I would
Yeah.
try to make friends, and then they start talking about football and this and that. And I'd be like, I don't really care. And I was interested in, I don't know, the cultural history and anthropology and different religions and cultures around the world from a very early age, and try to make sense of things. I always had this urge, and it is just, I just personally like it. It is very stimulating, very pleasant to talk about religions, to talk about knowledge. I have a similar thing for philosophy, but I think religious studies especially is much more intriguing, much more interesting to me, because it kind of shows to me how humans have this desire to know more and to understand more, to find truth, to believe in something, to become convinced of it. And different people around the world have different understandings and different conclusions, and it just, I don't know, I just sympathize with it. And
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Hey guys, for everyone who's commenting about my volume, I turn myself up as much as possible. I don't have as fancy of a microphone as AP does. AP, you're fine.
I
You're
should
my
maybe step away a little bit. I don't know. I'm too
No,
close.
it's mine. Well, I can kind of keep up my microphone this way. Yeah, I turn myself up as is too low. AP is way louder. Please fix
How
it.
is it? How is it now? 1 2 3 1 2 3 2 2 1.
1 2 1 2. Are we good? Well, I can't. I just turn myself up as much as I can. Yeah, that's what I can do. Yeah. Well, we'll just keep rolling, guys. Whenever I speak, well, turn your volume up. Whenever AP speaks, turn your volume down. So AP, have you read the Bible or parts of the Bible? I kind of want to move a bit and talk about your engagement with Christian thought in particular.
Well, my studies into the Bible kind of came at a time where things changed a little bit for me in terms of my ability to retain my attention and to read through things. But
Yeah.
I did make several attempts to read the Bible. I have read a lot of the first 5 books
Yep.
of Moses, the Torah. I did read specific books within the Bible. I love Ecclesiastes, which I recently read through just because I was very interested in the theme and the language, the literary qualities
Yeah,
of it.
that suits you. That book suits
Yeah,
you.
I love it because it's like it is like I like Nietzsche, like thinking about
Yeah.
and I think Ecclesiastes kind of has this thing. It deals with something that specifically appeals to me personally.
Yeah.
At the end, it takes a turn that I don't agree with,
Yeah.
but it is very nice, for me to read. And I read much of the Gospels. I recently went through studying them again and listened to them. I have to say I barely read anything from the remainder of the New Testament, the epistles and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah. Did you like the Gospel of John? Did that appeal to you at all?
It's a very special gospel,
Yeah.
which makes it more interesting, which makes it kind of more,
Yeah.
I don't know, amazing to read, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know if you want to be more factual.
No,
If I want to be more fact,
no, I
if I,
guess I'm just interested. Like, what would be, what was your impression or your first, the 3 key impressions you got from reading the Gospels? What stuck with you?
okay, honestly, sorry, I'm trying to fix my terrible setup right now. I think what I felt mostly was when I read the Gospels at first was that it was very different emotionally speaking. The impact that it made, I felt, wow, this is beautiful compared to the Quran, for example. You know, the impact, the language, the emotion that it conveys. On the other hand, when I tried to study it more deeply, I found it nice that it tries to have this more direct account of who Jesus was and what he taught and all that. And it's nice to see all the details. I feel like there's a little bit of disconnection. Some things are a little bit went over too quickly, in my opinion, but that's just me. I'm just a guy. And on the other hand, I feel like when I recently read the Gospels, I kind of very honestly felt like there is so much interpretation that can be done about these Gospels and what Jesus really meant. And I learned previously about the Gnostics and Mandaism and Manichaeism and these different movements and their beliefs. And I felt like, I don't know, I mean, I understood more deeply why there was a lot of disagreement and a lot of heresies, so to say, at the beginning about who Jesus really was and what he really meant. And I don't know, it's fascinating. It's a whole different world.
Yeah. So have you read any of the like Gnostic Gospels, or you just like that's something you know about or that people told you about?
I haven't personally read the Gnostic Gospels. I've only read different Gnostic accounts, not necessarily Christian Gnostic, but a dualistic Gnostic religion and thought in general.
Yeah.
But I haven't read those. I haven't read the specific Gnostic Gospels and the Nag Hammadi. What's it called?
Yeah, the
The
Nag
library.
Hammadi,
Whatever.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't gone into those.
Yeah. So from there, what was your, and so this goes back to the question that I put on the thumbnail, what was your impression of Jesus from reading the Gospels? I mean, obviously you were familiar with the figure of, you know, Jesus or Isa as he's described in the Quran, but what was your impression about Jesus from the Gospels?
I have to say, I would actually like to correct that.
Okay.
I think as a Muslim, you are not at all familiar with who Jesus actually was,
Okay.
and how Jesus is described in Christianity, what Christians believe in, and all that. You are given a very poor account of Jesus based on hearsay and early apocryphal accounts about Jesus. You don't learn about his teachings, you don't learn about his morals, you don't learn about the things that he actually went through. You just have a very specific narrative, a brief narrative that basically tries to discredit Christianity while trying to confirm and to reaffirm the Islamic belief of things. So when I actually went into studying Christianity and listened to Christians more and began reading Christian scripture and took a religious studies course, I noticed that I never really knew this Jesus, and I noticed that the morals of Christianity are very different from the morals of my former religion, Islam, for a reason, because they are found in the very character of the main figure of Christianity, who is so different from the main figure of Muhammad. And I loved. I have to say, I said before that I think Jesus is my favorite religious character from religions in general. I'm not sure if I can still, with all confidence, say the same thing, because I've kind of discovered some other thoughts. But I think Jesus is very special in the things that he taught, especially in the environment that he came into. I think he was very revolutionary. He gave people things that are very, very valuable. That said, I do not agree with his truth claims and with the Christian position necessarily. But I think I have a lot of sympathy for Jesus, the character.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for your honesty. And by the way, I'm not trying to kind of, I mean, you know this, I'm not trying to kind of subliminally, you know, try to convert you. I'm just really interested in what you think off the top of your head, or what kind of you feel when
No, we're being honest. We're having a conversation. I would love to. I love to be as honest as possible here.
So what do you make of the, you know, the Christian claim, that Jesus claimed that he was the Son of God? How do you, you know, in which box do you put that? When on the one hand you feel like, okay, Jesus is close to, you know, the most impressive religious figure, and then obviously as the key figure of Christianity, like there comes the claim with him that he is the Son of God. Like where do you, like how do you make sense of that, and how do you evaluate that?
It's hard to say. One issue is that we don't actually know, and I don't actually know what Jesus said and what he did during his life. My knowledge of Jesus and who he was comes from the Christian accounts about Jesus. I am not sure whether I can fully testify to the authenticity of everything that we find in the texts, in the accounts about Jesus. But so I just evaluate Jesus based on the character that we have in these specific books, which is why whether Jesus existed or not, how he existed, what he did, and what he actually said or not is completely irrelevant to me. What matters to me is that we have a certain Jesus who exists in this belief and in these texts, and that Jesus, that religious figure, with the claims that he made. When I look at him, what I think about is the impact that he makes, the things that he teaches, as far as existence and purpose and hope and all that is concerned, the morals that he preaches, what he tells people to do. Those are the things that I take into account and evaluate, and then who am I to judge? But I feel they are good or bad or whatever it is, and based on that I like him and find him very impressive and very unique and special. When it comes to to certain claims, supernatural claims, such as that he is the Son of God, or that he speaks for God, or that he is God, and all that, I can't really make a judgment. I can't really pass a judgment on that. If I knew that Jesus definitely did say those things, and if I had clear records that he did say those things, I could probably be more able and willing to make judgments about that. But at this point, those are not matters that I can really make any judgments about,
Sure.
To me, here's the thing. To me, I like Nietzsche, as said before. I think he was a very distinct person who brought a big twist to thinking and to philosophy in general. He went into a completely different way and told people very simple, no-brainer things that are also very mind-blowing. And when I think about Jesus, I feel like Jesus is a very significant revolutionary figure in religion, who completely changed the course of how things were going, went a completely different way. And insofar, I really appreciate Jesus. That said, I simply cannot do much with the supernatural claims that he does. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, I guess I understand where you're coming from. I'd be, what I would ask, and again, this is not a matter of trying to corner you, but, I understand why you would say, well, I like Jesus's teaching, turn the other cheek, or love your enemy, or, kind of the morals that he brought, and the charisma and the care for the oppressed and all of that. If this is what captures you, I guess many people are captured by that. And then I also understand why you would say, or why other people would say that, well, I can't really make sense of the supernatural stuff. Again, claims to divinity, or even the miracles, walking on water and whatnot. But then I guess the next question would be, how do you, because the teachings of Jesus, which capture you or which appeal to you, you get them from the same Gospels, from the same writings, where you find Jesus saying, well, me and the Father are one, or where he makes these claims to divinity. And so I guess the question then is, and you don't have to answer that, but I'm just putting it out there, like, how do you justify extracting one thing from Jesus and leaving the other thing untouched, or remaining, critical and agnostic about it? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I get your point. I don't want to do the stereotypical equating of Jesus to mythical figures like Zeus or something like that. That's not what I want to do here. But so I would look at it. I would look at it as it is different to judge whether a certain supernatural claim that a character in a book makes is true or false, and to judge whether certain teachings that they give on how to live your life and how to be moral are good or bad. Those are two separate things. I can agree that somebody said very great things. So somebody made very big claims that mostly turn out to be true,
Yeah.
while he also said very terrible stuff. Or
Okay.
I can agree that he said very good things, very great things that I personally feel amazed by, while thinking that the other claims that this character makes are probably not very great, or not completely true. For example, when you give, I could give examples for this from the history of cultures and religion. When I look at Confucius, for example, he's a very interesting figure, and a lot of stuff that he said about society and how to be good make a lot of sense. On the other hand, other claims that he makes, when I look at them, I think, in my humble opinion, they're complete nonsense.
Yeah.
And so when I look at Jesus, I simply have the position, I cannot make sense of the certain truth claims of the supernatural and the religious stuff that he preaches, based on a variety of different reasons.
Yeah.
But as far as how to live your life is concerned, or how to treat others is concerned, I think he makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I could judge many people like this. As said, this is the third time that I mentioned Nietzsche, but I really like the guy. On the other hand, I also think that much of the stuff that he said was complete nonsense as well. You know, and on the other hand, there are also a lot of things that I would disagree with when it comes to the morality of Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just overall, he's very impressive to me. That's
Okay,
the thing.
I see. Yeah, that's fair enough. And again, my point is not to kind of put up a debate here, but yeah, I understand your position there. What do you think is the biggest argument, or for you, when you think about Christian theism, what would be the best argument in its favor? What if there was one thing that would kind of make you feel like, well, yeah, there might be something to it. What would it be if there is such a thing?
In all honesty, I'm not sure if there is an argument specifically to Christianity. But when it comes to theism, I feel like one thing that would make me think is I don't know, what is that? It's kind of a cosmological approach, but also not. The whole idea that things seem to exist for a reason. Is it possible to, like, it's hard to believe that there is just a giant existence that has no purpose and no meaning behind it, and you can easily convince people by approaching them by appealing to reason or to meaning. I guess when it comes to Christianity specifically, I would say its great impact on the world, together with the morals that it preaches and how they seem to make for a better functioning society, seem to be a good argument in its favor. But on the other hand, theologically speaking, I don't think that I actually find any arguments for Christianity's truth claims to be strong enough, to be very honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Again, that just pops up spontaneously when you talk about good, good morals or bad morals, and good and bad ways of living. Have you kind of for yourself figured out a way to kind of justify like objective moral good and objective moral bad without having God in the picture, or kind of how do you deal with the issue?
I have. It's a complicated matter. It's like there's a lot of talk about it that often leads nowhere.
Yeah.
But my idea about morality is basically that morality is there are no objective moral values as such, and subjective moral values cannot be judged as true or false either. And morality is merely a function, a tool established by humans in order to express their emotions, their feelings, and to turn those into a useful or necessary tool in order to live together. For example, I pop into existence. I know this doesn't happen, but just a ridiculous example. I pop into existence in the middle of nowhere. What I feel is I feel hungry biologically. I feel a need to find food. I try to find food. I gather certain things. I try to take care of my needs, and suddenly I encounter somebody else who has those same goals. We don't exactly know how to coexist, and there is not enough for both of us. So we try to overpower each other and to kill each other. And after a while, we figure out, wait, hey, this doesn't work. This is not in our best interest. Maybe we should try a different way. We should learn to live together. And so they live together and make rules in order to make each other and themselves mostly feel better and more safe. And this is a very oversimplified
Yeah.
explanation of how I think morality comes into existence. It is merely a useful means for people to live together. And insofar, since you have the ability to feel empathy because you look at another person, you see that that another person feels pain. When that other person squeals and screams, you think of yourself feeling pain and how hurtful that is, and how much you would love to be helped in such a situation, which is why you feel the need to also do something good for this other person. And based on such reactions and observations, we have certain things that we consider good or bad. And based on that, I think, again, very oversimplified, but based on those values, I think Jesus was very much good, I think, in a worldly sense. I know
Yeah.
it's very oversimplified, but
Yeah.
just forgive me for that one.
No, that's good. And I mean, this is obviously a big topic to talk about morality. But I was going to pick Jesus up again. So when you say that, Jesus's morals or his way of living and what was established due to his teaching, this, you said that this could be like a major argument or something that is appealing when it comes to Christianity. So are you saying this is just, again, in the moral sense that you just described, it appeals to you as something that is, that functions better? Or would you be, willing to kind of consider, well, maybe there is something transcendently better about the Jesus way than...
No. I would just say that I think that Jesus was very insightful.
Okay.
In figuring out how to live a better life.
Yeah.
I personally, for example, with the struggles and everything that I have gone through, I personally feel, dude, it's much better if we just stop having pointless, unreasonable fights that don't lead us anywhere. Let's just learn to love each other and to forgive each other and to talk to each other and all that. And that's how I think things would become much better, much more productive, much more easy to take. And in that sense, I think Jesus said things that are very insightful. And when you look at the history of humans, it's just it also seems a little bit more functional compared to some other moral frameworks, where Christianity has this system of no infighting and worshiping God and making peace within your society, whereas in a culture where war and bloodshed is glorified, for example, and where people aspire to be warriors, that society is probably more likely to cause pain, to feel pain, and to eventually collapse by its own hands. Whereas a Christian peaceful society that also tries to exist and move forward might become more productive, as far as I view it. And yeah. So it's not about that the morals that Jesus preached are true or transcendentally perceived as something divine that comes from somewhere. It's just that they are more functional and make more sense to me.
Yeah, I get that. I'm asking you because I don't know whether you're familiar with Jordan Peterson's work, but he talks about like a similar issue, saying that, well, the way that how Jesus lived and the morals that he brought, they're kind of functioning to that degree, or they're so that they seem to function so well that there must be something true about it. So I guess just to draw a comparison for Jordan Peterson seems to be saying, well, there is like that there must be more to this than simply, well, this is kind of a nice, cool thing that works better than other things, but there might be this might be the thing. and that's where that's the route
I
that you don't
understand.
take. Yeah.
I understand. Now, with all due respect, no disrespect to Jordan Peterson, I really love the guy and really like his views. I think that would be a false conclusion to me,
Yeah.
and for me to make. I simply think that Jesus is a very insightful figure. That said, so were many others who are not as significant as Jesus because they are not religious figures, and
Yep.
it doesn't necessarily say much about where they got this information from, but just more about themselves and the message they convey.
Yeah. So who would be other figures that you kind of consider equally or similarly insightful as Jesus? Like you've mentioned Nietzsche and Confucius. Are there
It's
any?
hard for me to come up with names that could be similar because the average person in history is not even able to be as remotely as impactful as Jesus, who is the central figure of the largest religion that we have, and who has thereby established the morals of society. People don't necessarily make such big claims and don't become as impactful with all their morals remembered by everybody. But yeah, Nietzsche is one person. I have some admiration for Albert Camus and his
Yeah.
view of life, and yeah, I mean some figures like that. Yeah. So, also, the I think one figure that I find interesting in religion is actually the Zoroastrian
Yeah.
figure Zarathustra is
Zarathustra.
interesting, and honestly, how could I not mention this? But Buddhist people, Buddhist figures.
Yeah.
Shantideva is a Buddhist thinker, a very impactful one who is I think fantastic. And the Buddha himself, as far as you can attribute the things that he is supposed to have said to him, was also very, very great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would be the most powerful argument against Christianity or theism, like in your mind? What makes it most difficult to believe in a God? What kind of thing would that be for you?
I have honestly never sat down and decided upon the best argument against. There are a lot of arguments, a lot of thoughts that I try to think about, that I bring, or that I read about, depending on what kind of view you. Depending on what kind of Christian view you have. If you have the Christian view of creation with free will and atonement and then afterlife in heaven or hell, in that sense, which is the most popular view, I would say that the problem of hell, the problem of creation, free will, and afterlife is one that I cannot solve and cannot find coherent. I think that it's a major flaw, a major problem to me. It doesn't make sense to me that God, as a perfect being, creates beings supposedly with free will, but technically, logically, probably a free will that doesn't really mean much for them, and then judges and punishes them based on their actions and their results, which he determined, designed, or knew very much beforehand.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that. But the biggest problem that I have, honestly, is that much of Christian knowledge and knowledge of other religions mostly just comes from sources that I don't have any reason to believe, because they are simply sources which rely on different accounts that I cannot verify, that I can never sit down and believe somebody actually wrote while knowing the truth. So, yeah, lack of evidence and the whole predetermination, free will contradiction to me,
Okay.
I think.
Well, that's a lot of topics right there.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I could ask like 5 different follow-up questions. I was just wondering, do you have, I mean, I know that, you've been on David Wood's channel a couple of times and you guys do stuff together. Do you actually have time and space to, discuss these things, would David Wood be someone to whom you talk about these issues? Or
I don't want to talk with David Wood about these issues. I feel like we just don't have that thing,
Okay.
David and I, we don't go there. the best thing that would do about those things is just to mock each other in a friendly way,
Okay.
and that's all we do. But and this we talk about Islam and about other
Yeah.
things, but not about our beliefs to each other.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
more open to talk to other Christians about these things. Sure.
Yeah. So do you actually have that chance? I think I talked to someone who started on YouTube quite fresh as well. I can't remember, some guy, and it turns out that a lot of his conversations, everything he does, it's basically with just commenting with other people, and it's as if he doesn't have like a life outside of YouTube. Now, not to say that this is just bad, but I was surprised to hear that the guy was not so much involved out, philosophically and in debates or discussions or whatever, even casually involved outside of YouTube, because I thought, well, he's quite an articulate guy, and I thought, well, sure, he must have like some sort of regular not practice but habit of having these conversations. So, would you have like people in real life outside of YouTube with whom you could discuss these things?
I don't really talk much outside of this with people about these things. I
Okay.
used to in the past go on different platforms, on forums and things like that to discuss matters. The thing is, I have no life outside of the internet. No, just kidding. But I started at a very early age. As soon as I had my own access to the internet, I don't know, at the age of what was it, like 13 or something.
Yeah.
I started sitting down and just reading things online. I stopped. I began losing interest in going outside and doing things with friends, and would read encyclopedias and wikis and go on forums and discuss things like that. So this is very much something that I really have been doing all my life.
Yeah.
And when it comes to religious stuff, what I do mostly is to read. That's the vast majority of what I do. To read. I listen a little bit to lectures and books and all that, and occasionally engage in discussions, but I don't have any major real life discussions outside of this with people now.
Okay. Yeah. What's the kind of books you read? Like, or what are you reading at the moment? What's the type of book that draws your attention?
I'm currently trying to go through a book that I already read in the past, just because I find it so intriguing, which is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, which I
Okay.
think it's an amazing book. It's relatively short, but it's so amazing. I don't know, it's fantastic. For those who don't know, he was a psychologist and a
Yeah.
Holocaust survivor who was in one of the camps, had very terrible experiences there, and basically in his book he psychoanalyzes
Yeah.
the people in the concentration camps
Yeah.
and the Nazis and humanity all together, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going through that. The issue with me is I had kind of military stuff in 2013 or so going on, and then after that my life kind of changed, my attention span changed. I found it a little bit traumatic. Ever since, I've had a hard time retaining my concentration, my focus on one specific thing. And I don't know when was the last time I actually read one book from the beginning to the end without switching back and forth to other things. So I have this very confused way of reading. I read like, I don't know, 5-6 things at the same time.
Yep.
Constantly going back and forth between different things while listening to lectures and all that. So that is what I'm doing. I'm trying to go through some books of Nietzsche again, while also taking a whole deep dive through religion, to philosophy of religion. That's what I'm currently doing.
Okay.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I read, more than one book at one at the same time. I couldn't handle just reading one book, depending on the mood you're in, the daily mood
painful.
you're in. Yeah. That simply doesn't work. You mentioned meaning and Camus, and I was just wondering, or personally, did you have like a crisis of meaning, with like a nihilistic thing going on when you became an atheist, and how do you handle the question of meaning now?
Deep, touchy topic. So there was the time. So after I left Islam, there was a time where I was kind of where there was a gap, and I was trying to find out more about what I should now believe about God and all that, because I felt like even when I didn't truly practice Islam, my whole life was built around the idea that I am living for Allah, and that the afterlife is what I'm doing everything in my life for. And especially after I became religious, I became obsessive with following my religion follow properly to the fullest and all that. And after leaving Islam, I was kind of like my world was suddenly torn down, and I didn't know what to do anymore. I looked into religious beliefs; it didn't make sense to me. I concluded that I simply cannot believe in the whole idea of the one God. I found myself in this big gap, was trying to work, and one day I had this thing where I came home and I encountered some discussion on TV about death and things like that, and I went into a very dark place, and I thought, man, why am I still living? Why am I even alive? What is there to live for anyway? It makes no sense. I actually attempted to commit suicide that day, and was like about to do it, and it was a very dark, very terrible feeling. And I don't know. I then decided, standing there, that this is probably not what I should be doing. I should probably turn around and look for something better, and make my life better, to make other people's lives better, maybe. And I have questioned meaning forever, and at this point, I think this is why I have an admiration for Camus. And I think at this point, my best position, which I feel relatively satisfied with, is that the whole idea of a meaning of life is an idea that humans have created, and that there is no real objective inherent meaning to life. But that doesn't mean that life is meaningless. It simply means that the human search for meaning is inherently absurd, because there is no such thing as a meaning to life. But we are alive, we exist, and during the life that you have, you experience a lot of different sensations, a lot of things. You have goals and all that, and you have a human history that you are a part of, and you have this inherent will to stay alive and to flourish. And based on that will, you can very much pave your own path without believing that you must find some inherent meaning, which nobody ever found and nobody ever proved to be true. That is currently my position. It's kind of absurdism, as it is called.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so. I just embrace the nothingness and the goodness of just living life as it is.
Okay. Well, do you think? So you're basically saying, like, meaning is not, like, it isn't there. Like, there is no ultimate kind of meaning, right?
Yeah. There is no inherent meaning. So I mean, it is meaningful to me to do what I'm doing right now, to share information, to study the things that I like, to have a good family, provide for my children, to live a good and happy life. This makes sense to me. This, in my own context, is meaningful. For humans to advance and to find out more and to live better lives is meaningful. But as far as a certain objective inherent meaning to everything, I don't think that there is such a meaning.
Yeah. Well, so in this sense, you're saying that when you're saying that, again, the advancement of knowledge and caring for your family and, spreading good vibes and whatnot is meaningful in the sense that it just makes us feel good, but it's just caught up in limbo. It's not, you can't measure it against some standard that would tell you whether this is actually, as you call it, inherently in tune with what is ultimately meaningful. Would that be kind of correct?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's hard to define, really. It's hard to. That's why I think the whole philosophy of existentialism and absurdism is so hard to really define and put into a box. But yeah, so there is no true. There is no true meaning that you can judge as true or false in that sense. But there is meaning to you yourself subjectively.
Yeah.
if you want to live a specific way, which you are by no means bound by,
Yeah.
and which is by no means a universal objective meaning, and by
Yeah.
no means verifiable or falsifiable. It is
Yeah.
just a subjective experience
Okay.
to me.
Yeah, I see. And that kind of makes you, that gives you kind of rest over this question of meaning. Is that what kind of makes you, compared to that, meaninglessness experience type of thing that you had when leaving Islam initially? Do you feel like at rest with the way you've laid things out for
Very,
yourself?
very much,
Okay.
yeah. So I feel actually what makes me feel at rest is that I felt like I have this obligation, this compulsion to seek for the ultimate meaning, and I think that search for meaning gave me a lot of existential pain.
Yeah.
And I have given up that search for an ultimate meaning and acknowledged that there is no ultimate meaning, which is why which is why I don't painfully search for it anymore, while also agreeing that a lack of such a meaning does not mean life is meaningless, boo-hoo. It just means it is not meant to be there, and that is not bad. It's completely okay. And so I
Yeah.
feel very peaceful in this state at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And as you say, like the question of meaning is a tricky one. I guess I would disagree in the
Yeah.
sense that, and again, we don't need to kind of talk more about this, but I think that if there is no ultimate meaning, as you affirm, I think that I can understand that people would then still go and say, well, I make up my meaning, or, I pursue something that seems to be meaningful somehow, even though there is no actual meaning out there. I still think it's kind of inconsistent, or it doesn't quite make sense, because if you're essentially saying, well, there is no meaning objectively, it's not there, or ultimately it's not there, then just creating something out of thin air or conjuring up something and saying, well, it feels meaningful, seems to not quite, it doesn't quite make sense. And that's why I'm feeling, are you really at, that's why I would always ask back, well, are you at rest, or does that sometimes get to you, that you're conjuring up
No.
something that is actually not in the fabric of reality, as you yourself say,
No, no. So what I mean by there is no meaning, and that there is no such thing as meaning. What I mean is that there is no inherent meaning. So there is no. It's not like there is a programmed meaning that we are supposed to find and live by. What there is, and I feel like even if I made big claims about the meaning of life, even if I make big claims about the meaning of life, I am just a mere individual together with all others in this who supposedly tries to make big claims about what everyone is supposed to live by or what is right to live by. As I see it, I don't think that there is an inherent meaning that everyone is supposed to find and live by. That said, we exist in a reality that we have no reason to question, in which there is a lot of functionality that we function within, and within this life, with our subjective experiences, we can evaluate the world. And if we want to describe our goals in life and our aims and pleasures in life as meaning, then that is okay. That is a subjective understanding of meaning that we have pretty much created, but there is no such thing as ultimate or inherent meaning to me. I think I'm at rest with that. I don't see a contradiction
Okay.
within that. Like I will never judge and say, well, you live a meaningless life, or this is against the meaning of life, or this is stupid, this is wrong, and all that. And I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just up to
Yeah.
the human experience very much.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Man, we talked about some big things. Let me just ask you, just out of the blue, do you talk about this stuff with your wife, or about the stuff you put up on YouTube? Is that something that you guys talk about over dinner table and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, we actually do. Often we sit down, eating our food at the dinner table, and then out of the blue we start talking about things about religion, about philosophy, why people believe in God, and stuff like that. So this is actually something that I talk about with my wife a lot. We have nice conversations about these things. She follows different people, listens to different stuff. She loves listening to debates on atheism and theism and all that.
Okay.
And I am in different circles, and sometimes we sit together and exchange our opinions. It's very nice.
Oh man, that's cool. So you guys, you're not exactly at the same point in your kind of journey. She doesn't share, exactly the same views or same.
Well, not exactly. I mean, she doesn't believe in God. She's a former Christian. She used to be Orthodox Christian. She does not believe in God anymore, and but we may not be exactly philosophically exactly the same, and that's good. That's great. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Guys, I'm gonna open up for a couple of questions later on. My last question to you, or two last questions to you, AP. What kind of movies do you watch, and what kind of YouTube channels, other than debate stuff and theism and atheism stuff, do you enjoy?
Now we're getting into the heavy stuff, the hard questions.
That's real tough stuff.
In terms of movies, my one of my favorite movies related to all this stuff is actually a movie that is called The Man from Earth. It's a very interesting movie that I love. The whole movie is basically in one room, and this guy who has supposedly been alive for thousands of years reveals his story to the people in the room, and there is a lot of talk about the meaning of life and about religious figures and all that. I really love that movie. Another movie that I like is Kill Bill. That is completely different, but I just love it. It's one of my favorite movies. And right now, at this moment, I feel like I'm very much into watching trashy movies, like very low quality horror comedies and stuff like that that have a lot of stupid features like violence for no reason and all that. It kind of takes off the edge, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired of watching meaningful things. And
Yeah.
What did you say? YouTube channels? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't watch YouTube very much, to be honest.
Other than your own stuff.
Yeah, and some other people like David Wood and apologists and atheists and stuff like that. I don't even watch much atheist stuff. I mostly watch, if I am on YouTube, I mostly am here because I listen to something, I don't know, a lecture or a information about a certain cultural thing. So I actually like listening to this one channel about religion. I forgot what it's called, but it's this guy who makes a lot of videos about religion. And I like space related stuff on YouTube, history related stuff. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry for not giving out names. I'm terrible at listing things.
No, that's good. Well, okay, so if anyone, let me see if I have a good question that has come in. I think, here we go. Oh, wait. I can't pull this off. So if someone is asking, if someone made a movie of AP's life, who should be the main actor?
I never thought anyone would ask me such a question.
Well, I heard you on someone's channel, I heard you being asked the question of what animal would you pick if you were an animal. I can't remember where I saw that.
That was on Capturing Christianity. Cameron
was it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you said you would be an owl, right?
Yes, that's what I said. Exactly. I was actually between an owl and a raven. I couldn't make my mind up. But I went for an owl. This is an interesting question. I have no idea, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, good.
No idea. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Let me just see if I've got. No. One last question, just for me, is what is an atheist channel that you follow that you appreciate? If you watch atheist stuff.
Pine Creek is a good channel.
Yeah,
I like the stuff that he does. He has a nice approach to religion, I think. Cosmic Skeptic, on the other hand, I think is it's very hard for me to really sit down and judge a certain person, a certain YouTuber as well. This guy is amazing, like very insightful. But with Cosmic Skeptic, I think the guy is very smart
Yeah.
and very knowledgeable and very good in the way he handles information. So for
Yeah.
that, I really like following him. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty
Yeah.
much it. I don't really watch much atheist stuff.
Okay. Yeah, well, Pine Creek has responded, I think, to 2 of my videos. I think if Pine Creek, if you're still here, I think the very first video
Oh,
I
he's
put
here.
out, a year ago, I think he responded to it right away. I'm not super proud of that video anymore anyway, but I was happy that I got picked up. I think it was by him actually right away.
Yeah,
So
Pine Creek is a bit of a jerk.
no offense.
But yeah, no offense,
Yeah.
but I like his approach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you're a bit of a jerk, but yeah, we love you.
yeah.
And you're. By the way, I wanted to say, I forgot to mention this. I really appreciated and I was impressed with you. I think 2 weeks ago or so, you put up a post where you said you're not like a professional when it comes to philosophical debates,
Oh yeah.
but that you're willing to learn and that you're happy, to go against people who know more than you do. And I just thought, well, that's just, it's just super beautiful, and it's good to have that sort of vibe from an influencer, so that everyone can realize, well, yeah, you don't have to be a know-it-all. It's fine to say, well, I just don't know. I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much. I was just trying to brag about how humble I am. No, no, it was actually it is something that I sometimes forget. Honestly, it's and I think I also made that post, or sometimes make posts like that, because I kind of feel like I'm getting off track with certain things. Because when you have a platform and you talk about things, and especially with the stuff that I'm talking about, I focus on Islam, I'm getting attacked by so many people. And after a while, although always thinking, hey, I don't have to be strong, I don't have to act like an arrogant whatever, although I think like this, over time interacting with this stuff, I feel like I'm getting poisoned by what I'm doing, and kind of getting into unnecessary struggles of asserting power and trying to appear right and all that. And occasionally I try to catch myself and correct myself and acknowledge that I'm that is what I'm fundamentally against, because it doesn't lead anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's something that I learned from others, and it's nice. But yeah, it's definitely good for everyone to really take a step back, to calm down, to stop acting like we all have to be impressive and knowledgeable and fantastic and all that. Acknowledge that we are all just dumb humans trying to explain our point of view, and then maybe to just listen to each other.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good place to stop. Thanks again, AP, for coming on. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you guys enjoyed this too. Is there any word of wisdom, like a final thing you'd like to share with the world, or with the people who are watching?
I just wanted to make a joke, but I think it would be very morbid to do that. But before I go, no. Actually, one channel that I was talking about earlier, Let's Talk Religion, is one channel, and Religion for Breakfast. Yeah, I really like those 2 channels, I think. But yeah, well, thank you so much for this, Lucas. I really appreciate having this conversation. It was really nice. I really loved this. I have no idea how you can listen to me for an hour.
No, that was awesome. I loved it too. That was great.
And it was very nice. I don't have much words of wisdom, just thanks everybody. And let's be good.
That's
Wow,
good.
look at how humble I am. Wow.
There we go. Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
thanks.
Yeah, thanks, AP, and see you next time.
Stay away from Islam. That's what I have to say.
That's it. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye, guys. Bye, AP.